Hey, Laganja. Hey, J-Dot. You were missed yesterday, J-Dot. For the Mad Libs. We missed you at Mad Libs. Hey, Scapegoat. How am I doing? Surviving. Basically always just surviving. Hey, Mean Sugar. Still working? Yeah, still work. Hey, Lady MK. Congratulations. Hey, Farrell. There we go. And my video is updated. My video details are updated. Hurrah. Oh, hey, Scapegoat, I didn't realize that you had died. Live chatting with you. Cool. Just went over to check my comments, and yes, Scapegoat, I didn't realize that you had died. My condolences. Place to message you on live chat. Twitter. It'd be Twitter. She was okay yesterday. Cool. Good to know. I got dinner with my mom yesterday. Yeah, Farrell. Twitter would be the best place, or you can email me. You can also email me. Both my Twitter handle and my email are on my my about page. Toxic Gossip Train? No, I don't give a shit. Parental Foodie and telling you. Yeah. I'm glad, J-Dot. How many people does she get? Hey, Vanna. How many people does she get in her streams? I'm curious. Yep, Mom's always happy to see me. We went to St. Hube's. St. Hubert's. Thubes, as I like to call it. Can I call you terms of endearment? Sure. Hey, Jenna. Apparently I missed a CG in the first one. The voice of the coworker from King of the Hill. Frito pie. Nice. Hi, Jenna. Rice and chicken. Sleeping good tonight? Cool, cool. Cove creator. Yes, Jenna? Yes, J-Dot. Glad you're here again. What I have for dinner? Fried chicken from the ready hot counter at the grocery store. Thursday is when I do my groceries, and they've got like a counter with like like fried chicken tendies, and chicken wings. They were out of chicken wings and they're almost out of everything. Like almost out of all the chicken. So they had a couple pieces of fried chicken left. So I had a couple pieces of fried chicken and potato wedges. That the chips? Hey, tropical fish. But like it's like chips with chili cheese on it. Ah. Been to a restaurant where they were almost out. I'm like sad. Yeah. You ever go to KFC and they're out of chicken? Am I a picky eater? Very picky eater. I am an extremely picky eater. It's genuinely a problem. Hey, Barney. Hey, Color Purple. Want to not show up tomorrow at work. Oh, I know. Besides being sick, what should I say? I just want to work from home instead. Wrecked my car. I mean, you could just say that, like... I mean, you could just say you're not feeling up to the office. Like, if you had the choice between working the office and working from home, you just be like, hey, I can work, but I really don't feel up to working in the office. I will get... You know, just be like, if I'm in the office, I will get nothing done. If I'm at home, I will get stuff done. Eat cooked onions, prefer them raw. Huh. It's all members only. 93.7 subs. When will I spill the tea? Never. I'm never spilling tea. The only tea I will ever spill is, like, if it's just, you know, funny. If it's funny and I know Chantal wouldn't be upset about me sharing it. Hey, Killface. You know, like... I'll spill tea about her farts because that's funny. And, you know, she's not shy about the fact that she farts. I don't know if she, I mean, maybe she is now, but when we were together. She was, when we lived together, she was never shy about farting. So it's okay for me to talk about her farts. But, you know. We're talking about Chantel. I'm just giving a few more minutes for... Respect you for that, not feeling tea. Yep. Moral self-respect. Yep. Loyalty, that's where it's at. Hey, Arjun. Give it a couple more minutes to see if anyone else comes in before I start. Probably not going to be too many more people. I did start recording my Life is Strange Let's Play yesterday. Spent 4 hours recording, so I've got 4 episodes of it recorded. Loyalty is obsolete. So yeah, I'm breaking the episodes down like an hour an hour per episode. That seems like a pretty reasonable length. I will say, still, is this Final Fantasy? Not yet. I will say the 3rd episode of my Life is Strange Let's Play is kind of hilarious because an hour and literally nothing happens. I talk to characters, I look at items, I listen to a licensed song. So just like an entire episode. An entire hour-long episode. Where nothing at all actually happens. But whatever, it's fun. It's fun talking to the character. It's fun talking to the characters in it. It's fun exploring in that game. Loyal to aliens? Was everyone to the aliens? I mean, depends on the aliens. Are the aliens hot? That's my question, Lady MK. Are the aliens hot? Can we never have a comfort blanket for streams? Because I don't really need a blanket. Don't need a comfort blanket. Alright. How old is Cove now? We're 18. We are all 18 in the game. Cove and the main character are 18 years old. Alright, so we left off the morning of the party. The morning of Miranda's birthday party. The final party before we all go our separate ways. So we were up late, making cupcakes with Baxter. We can fuck shit up now, yep. So, let's continue. Let's get to the party itself. You jerked awake with a start. There was a loud knocking coming from your bedroom door.
How are you?
Kiddo, you awake? You were in your bedroom. You were pretty sure about that anyway. 80% positive at least. You were too drowsy to come up with any more creative place to be. But besides the basic and likely fact of existing in your bedroom, you found that you hadn't the faintest idea what was going on. There had been a voice, right? You remembered a voice. Terry phoned the house earlier, but you missed her. There it was again. Your mom's voice. As you slowly blinked awake, realization came to you in stages. Pretended like it's gonna rain here, skipped us, and now we are rolling into heat advisory. Shitty. You recall the events of yesterday. The lived sensations swam in your memory. A frantic afternoon of planning, of shopping, and of sugar. At some point, you had ended up in your bed asleep, but you didn't recall setting an alarm. Terry had said she'd pick you up at 7 this morning, so she was your wake-up call for the day. You poked your head out from beneath the blanket and called out, "I'm awake! I'm awake!" Standing in the middle of your room, your mind blanked. Then, you scrunched up your face really tight and allowed your brain to form a coherent thought. Miranda's birthday. It was Miranda's birthday! You hastily changed into a fresh set of clothes, tried to tame your bedhead as best you could, and then raced downstairs. You bade your moms a quick farewell.
Have fun.
And say a happy birthday to Miranda from us, Kay? You had barely enough time to yell a quick thank you over your shoulder before you were out the front door. When you stepped outside, Cove was there waiting for you on the sidewalk. The number of times you'd left the house to find him there, it sometimes made you wonder if he lived on your sidewalk. If the cloud moves, if it comes from northwest, the lakes have it go over or under us. He hadn't the faintest trace of sleepiness on him, but then Cove rarely did. He was a tiny sun at any time of day, but mornings were when he shone the brightest. I think my character has a crush on Cove. You exchanged your usual greetings, but rather than stop to chat, you kept on walking by. As you explained to him, the cakes were at Baxter's place, and needed you to go pick them up. Oh. Alright. Cove didn't tag along, content to leave you to your own devices. That made sense. He wasn't yet at the point of seeking out Baxter's company willingly, and wasn't likely to start now. When you knocked on Baxter's door, it popped right open like your meager taps had knocked it off its hinges. Hi, Baxter.
Nice to see you.
Good morning. I've been expecting you. You had gotten that impression. He moved aside in the hallway to let you pass, and you strode briskly into the condo. He followed you into the kitchen, where you found the cakes in their containers, stacked on the countertop. The big day is, finally here. Excuse me. His composure had been broken with an enormous yawn, the size you hadn't seen since the coffee shop. Damn, apparently video game yawns are contagious to me. Apparently the word yawn is contagious to me. Hey, I'm just wondering, what time did you go to bed last night?
Honestly.
Truthfully, I didn't make it to bed. Been there. You weren't surprised by now. Baxter was just like that. But you still felt a pang of guilt. You were putting him through the ringer with this party. It's not an issue. I felt rather rough after I finished cleaning yesterday and took the liberty of having a nice long shower. I also prefer to avoid going to bed with damp hair. But no sooner had I gotten dry than I realized that I wouldn't be able to get any substantial amount of sleep before I needed to be up again anyway. So I stayed awake instead. Hi, yawn. Damn you, Jenna. I barely slept either. That's unfortunate. Hopefully we can both catch up on it once this is over.
Now.
Enough about me. Let's take these delicacies outside and wait for Terry. She texted me earlier to let me know she was on her way. I imagine you received a similar message. Terry had indeed sent you a message, although it was too early in the day to be hit with something with so many exclamation points. How much sleep had she gotten? He picked up 2 of the weighing boxes, leaving you to carry the remainder. You didn't linger, heading straight for the front entrance. Baxter came up behind you with the key. I have a crush on my coworker. How should I attract him? Tell him you like him like an adult. Sex Panther. 80% of the time, it works every time. Don't tell him you like him like a child, but tell him you like him like an adult. Pass him a note. Do you like me? YN. Or there's always my flirting technique. Say nothing, say nothing to him, and just put out vibes and hope that he just somehow magically picks up and asks you out and marries you, and you live happily ever after with 3 kids. He had trouble with the logistics, eventually resorting to balancing the containers in one hand like a serving tray, before closing and locking the door with the other. Back on the street, Cove was still loitering on the street down by the front gate, blissfully unaware of what the secret party planning committee had gone through for this. Baxter called over to him, full of characteristic good cheer. "Good morning, neighbor." "Hey." Cove's response was quiet, more distracted than aloof. He was peering with interest at the boxes you were carrying. He had hopes about their contents. The plastic was kind of foggy and translucent, so it wasn't quite possible to tell what was inside. But Cove intuited that, whatever it was edible. The boy was like a shark sometimes.
See?
"My friend, you are looking at 35 of the finest freshly baked chocolate cupcakes with cream cheese frosting." Cove's face visibly lit up at the word cake, as if he'd been offered one already. "That's great!" "I believe Terry is also bringing a proper birthday cake from home as well." Cove's smile grew even wider. You hoped Baxter was taking notes. "The way to a man's heart is through his stomach" was a phrase you suspected had originally been written about Cove. Baxter like, "So this is how I have to become your friend. Bribe you with food." The promise of treats was far and away the most exciting aspect of any party, at least to him. Your heart ached with a familiar affection. Didn't matter how often you had the thought, Cove could be so adorable that it hurt. Those won't be the only sweets either. There's going to be a chocolate fountain, too. Cove's mouth formed a perfectly round O, and you thought you could see sparkles in his eyes. Or maybe they were sprinkles.
Yeah?
"What are you guys bringing to dip in it? Strawberries? Marshmallows? Banana slices? Pretzels?" While Cove was busy listing every single item he thought might reasonably taste good drenched in liquefied chocolate, it struck you that you didn't know what the answer to this question was. Green-haired dude is hot. "Green-haired dude is our boyfriend. He's our boyfriend." Crash my car into his and say I am wet. That works, Lady MK. Was Terry handling that? Were you supposed to have thought of something? You exchanged a nervous glance with Baxter, who shifted uncomfortably from one foot to the other. Very not good. Baxter didn't have a clue either, which could only mean that you had never even discussed the matter with Terry yesterday. It was the cupcake quantity quandary all over again. Your shoulders slumped. You had honestly never anticipated organizing a party would involve coordinating so many different things. Your mind simply couldn't keep track of it all. Seeing your distress, Baxter slipped into his usual mode of cool cucumberness. Let's think about this. Terry took the fountain home with her, so we can sensibly assume that she has taken charge of it, and, by extension, the offerings to dip into the fountain. However, time isn't on our side, and luck has not been either. In order to be 100% absolutely crystal clear about the matter, we should text her and ask. Although if she's currently driving... He trailed off, a hint of anxiety managing to mar even his carefully schooled demeanor. You all exchanged a new set of nervous glances, Cove joining in this time. This problem was one even he could worry about. We should grab stuff. Our houses are right here, and you know what Terry's like. If she knew what she was going to do, she would have said so already. Baxter inclined his head in agreement, bending down to place his boxes of cupcakes on the ground near the condo's front entrance. Then he straightened, pulling himself up to his full height.
Fine.
We are going to our homes to retrieve some suitable samplers. Terry will arrive and take us to the venue, and there will be no further problems. Sure there won't, Baxter. Sure there won't. His voice resonated with a forceful air of finality. This was perhaps the closest you'd seen to Baxter losing his temper. Then he added, as an afterthought, unless, of course, we are hit by a car on the way there. But quite frankly, I will be much too tired to care about dying by then. Let's settle this. He was right. It had to be done. You simply put down your box of cupcakes next to Baxter's. Then the three of you made a run for it, each going your separate ways. You dashed over the road and hopped inside your house, heading directly for the kitchen. You opened cabinets at random, racking your brain for anything to bring. What would go in a chocolate fountain? You wished you'd paid more attention to what Cove had been saying earlier, though you did remember to swipe the bunch of ripe bananas off the counter. No further problems! Relatable indeed. Then you hit the jackpot on the highest shelf of your family's cupboard. Back outside, the three of you examined the spoils of your impromptu raiding party. There were several types of assorted fruits, marshmallows, some cookies, pretzels, and a box of granola bars. This last item, one of Cove's, had Baxter chuckling under his breath.
Not bad.
I have to say, I've never heard of granola bars being dipped in a fountain before, chocolate or otherwise.
Hey!
Would you rather I'd brought protein bars instead? No, this is good. It will be a novel addition. Not to mention easy for people to hold without a utensil. Besides, I hardly contributed at all. He gestured a little timidly at the bag of salted pretzels, his sole addition to the haul. It was all he'd had to bring. You'd saved the day by finding your mom's and Liz's special treats. 3 types of cookies and big marshmallows. They'd have to sacrifice for this event as everyone else did. Right. I brought some bags along to put everything in. I can carry those while you two handle the cakes. You and Baxter both praised Cove's quick thinking and gratefully dumped everything into the bags he held out. Then you gathered up the boxes of cupcakes. You mingled about, making idle conversation about the upcoming party and trading some anecdotes with Cove about the baking process from the night before. He was especially mournful to hear about the accident that had claimed the 36th cupcake. But soon, there was the telltale sound of a vehicle approaching at speed. The Brooks van pulled up alongside you, and the horn honked loudly in greeting. Terry had arrived. You could see the enormous grin on her face through the front windshield. She enthusiastically stuck her arm out the driver's window and waved. Cove beamed and waved back. Give me a second, I gotta blow my nose. Give me a second here. Okay, I'm back. Man, that nose blow popped my ears. My ears popped. So now the game music sounds weird to me.
Right.
I'll get the door. He pulled open the sliding side door, jumping inside and striking up a conversation with Terry immediately. You clambered in after him. The car was normally spacious, but since you'd filled it up with party equipment yesterday, it'd gotten cramped. You made room for the additional food wherever you could.
Hey, buddies.
You ready to make like an RPG and party up? Not really. Were you ready to have a chocolate fountain? What did you bring to dip in it? Being subjected to this accusation right out of the gate knocked Terry completely off her stride. Her expression was utterly baffled. Cove, how do you know about the chocolate fountain? I almost forgot we even had a chocolate fountain. Then Terry clapped a hand to her forehead, her eyes wide. Oh shoot! I forgot to bring stuff for the chocolate fountain! Terry started panicking, but Baxter promptly headed that off at the pass with a casual rap of his knuckles against the external wall of the van. He leaned in through the side door, having stopped short of climbing inside after you and Cove. No need to worry about it, Terry. We thought that might have happened, so we took the liberty of bringing along some offerings of our own. You guys got the goods?
Of course.
Yep, right here. Cove held up one of the bags of extra supplies he was still clutching, jiggling it enticingly. Terry placed a hand heavily to her heart. Crap. You are my saviors. But don't scare me like that. I thought this party was a bust. Do you know how many times I've thought that in the last 12 hours? You're lucky you're not doing this by yourself, Terry. Oh yeah, you got that right. Remind me to treat you to something once this is all over. Deal.
What?
Hold on. You barely did anything yet, Cove.
So?
He is present now. And it was thanks to him we realized what was amiss. Cove speaks for us all, I think. You have yourself a deal, Terry. Fine. Slowly but surely, you felt some of the stress from the last several hours fade away in the company of your friends. Maybe this whole thing would work out all right in the end. Hailing here the size of golf balls. Oof, that sounds rough. Baxter gently tapped the side of the vehicle again to grab everyone's attention.
Does that sound alright?
With that safely out of the way, I'll part with you three here. I'm going to drive along behind in my own car, if that's all right. Okay? Sure. That's cool with me, man. Terry didn't really get what Baxter was doing, but she wasn't about to start raising objections. A brief glance at the two of you confirmed that neither you nor Cove had a clue about between you either. Splendid. I'll see you very soon. He punctuated his farewell by shutting the van door, leaving you and Cove to buckle yourselves in. Terry watched in the rearview mirror as Baxter approached his vehicle and got inside. Once he'd fastened his seatbelt and flashed her a quick thumbs up, she put the van in drive and pulled out. Baxter followed suit, and the four of you were off. You sat with the boxes of cupcakes stacked precariously in your lap, your arms wrapped around the sides to prevent the tower from toppling. You were hyper-aware of every last dip and bump in the familiar roads like you'd never been before. As you went along, Terry laid out the plan for when you arrived.
All right.
So the idea is to make sure we get all the snacks and drinks and that stuff ready first, in case we're missing anything. Anything else. Then we've got to decorate everything as fast as physically possible before noon, basically. That's when people should start showing up. We're going to order some sandwich platters and salad bowls and stuff on delivery. Those should be there for people to eat along with the cake. Sort of like a late lunch.
Oh.
And by we, I mean Randy's mom and dad. We're off the hook for that part. She threw her head back and whooped with glee, a sound that was pure and clear as the morning. You felt her infectious enthusiasm. She continued. Hey, Juan. Juan? Anyways, Randy doesn't want to have her party drag on forever, and we'll need time to clean up before the place closes, So we're going to wrap things up with the event before dinner. When the guests are gone, we'll have until 10 before we'll get kicked out of the room. Now, I won't sugarcoat it, or even chocolate coat it, team. It's going to be another long day for all of us. Just don't forget, Randy's going to be amazed, and it'll all be worth the effort. I just know it. You closed your eyes, leaning back against the seat of the van. Terry was speaking the truth, of course, about all of it. It was to be another grueling day. Suppose goodbye, Juan. Goodbye, Juan. You will not be missed. But you had your friends, and you were grateful. To be huddling in the back of a van, surrounded by a mountain of bags, and 35 cupcakes in your lap. To be alive. To be there. You might have been in some danger of falling asleep again, sitting down for too long. But before you nodded off, Terry was parking the van in the lot outside a large building. It looked like it hosts generic offices rather than parties. You couldn't judge a book by its cover, apparently. We're here! Everybody out! On command, you and Cove dutifully climbed out of the van. Baxter was pulling up in his car, having managed to stick close to Terry the whole way. When your group had reassembled, there was a brief re-exchange of greetings. Terry wasn't in the mood to dawdle and clapped her hands together. Time to get moving, people! We got a whole party truck to unload. Aye, aye, Captain. What he said.
Sure.
You and Terry carried your respective desserts, while Cove and Baxter worked together to take a folded table from the back of the van. Terry led the way to the rented room. You peeked your head around the cupcake container and got your first look at the party space. It seriously was perfect for this, and exactly as Terry had originally described. Shiny, pretty, and pink. That is rather pink. This is a very pink room. On Terry's direction, the boys put the table down in what would eventually be the refreshment section of the party. They extended the legs and flipped it upright. Once it was stable on its feet, Baxter was quick to cover the surface with one of the golden tablecloths. It was ready to go. Something telling me there isn't any alcohol at this party? No, unfortunately, it's for high schoolers at an official, like at a professional building. I like pink rooms. Indeed. Yeah, this is, it's for teenagers, so yeah. Ever so carefully, you set your plastic chest of bejeweled consumables down. When the opaque lids came off, the revealed frosted tops were still intact. On closer inspection, you could tell a few cupcakes on the left side of the container were slightly smushed, but the glitter coating hadn't rubbed off, so no one else would notice the imperfection. Ah! Terry's gleeful exclamation came from over your shoulder. She'd caught sight of your and Baxter's handiwork.
Very nifty.
That's what I'm talking about. The white cake with bits of rainbow confetti in her hands was the one element that was out of place with the theme. It was entirely unglamorous, a relic of more childlike birthdays. But that's why you were certain Miranda would adore it. She hadn't completely outgrown old favorites. Terry put it next to the cupcakes and gave you a big thumbs up. You had everything you needed, and the biggest potential disasters had been avoided. For now. You could focus on the rest of the preparation work with confidence. The whole secret party planning committee went for another run of supply gathering. Another table and piles of plastic bags were brought into the venue. On the third round, everything had made it inside. You'd carried a red cooler filled with chilled sparkling cider. Terry hid that under the covered table until later. Then all four of you sat around the lit-up dance floor taking stuff out of bags and sorting it into piles. Things for food on one half of the room, decorations on the other. Terry and Cove were both cross-legged. Baxter kept his legs stretched out. It was kind of like being a kid on Christmas, except instead of opening gifts, it was things you'd have to set up. And instead of piles of wrapping paper all around, it was plastic thank you for shopping bags. You still had plenty of fun, especially after it was somehow decided that Cove Holden was the perfect hook for the feather boas. One after another was tossed over his shoulders and into his lap until he looked like a multicolored big bird. Cove accepted the assignment with only a moderate amount of complaining. When the supplies were completely unpacked, Terry surveyed the collection of plates, napkins, utensils, plastic cups, and such. She announced that she'd handle the snack and drink arrangements. She delegated you, Baxter, and Cove to do everything else with the room. After a salute, Terry left the circle and headed to her station. From under his cloak of feathers, Cove got busy snapping off tags and removing casings. You and Baxter followed his lead. The emptied bags were repurposed for holding trash. Peacefully and productively, your little team worked away on different tasks, until a groan of frustration echoed through the air. You glanced towards the opposite side of the room. Terry was shaking the chocolate fountain like she was trying to get a prize to fall out of it. Technical difficulties? Baxter stated the obvious. Everyone in the room was aware of Terry's struggles. Not to worry. I have a bit of experience with those beasts. I should be able to offer assistance. He announced his intentions as he got up. There wasn't much left that had packaging, and you wanted to make sure everything was alright, so you decided to go see Terry too. Cove was left to hold down the fort. He shrugged, and one of the boas slipped down his back. You crossed the floor together, and with a wave, Baxter spoke out to the woman hunched over a table. Hello. Terry sprung up at the sound. Her face was despairing, and she skipped right past the greeting. How do you use this thing? You add the chocolate, it's supposed to go, right? 'Cause it's not going. Baxter pursed his lips and cocked a hip, considering. Basically, yes. You add the melted chocolate into the machine and turn it on. It takes a minute, but should start to flow. We can troubleshoot. Wait, the melted chocolate? She released her clutch on the fountain. What? What? Yes! What was she expecting? Doesn't it melt when you put it in? A pinch of frustration made Baxter wince. It was only momentary. Then he was smiling placatingly. He had to deliver bad news as pleasantly as possible. To use a chocolate fountain, the chocolate must be melted ahead of time. It won't cook in the machine. Those novelties aren't that sophisticated.
What?
I didn't know that! I didn't know that you didn't know that. I should have asked. I should have known. I should have been the one to set it up in the first place. Baxter's regrets grew and grew.
Forgive me.
You've never used one before, and I have. The both of them dropped their faces with a sigh, though the dramatics of their actions were on entirely different levels. Baxter's dejection was subtle, restrained. Meanwhile, Terry couldn't have exaggerated her misery more. Get that lady Get this woman a fainting couch! After Baxter used his own money to get it, and all the trouble you went to finding treats that could be used in it, the fountain ended up a useless metal tower. There has to be some way to make that thing work. You are absolutely right. Baxter straightened himself up. Like an actual professional, he viewed the situation from an objective distance and could give perspective to the more emotionally attached Terry. It's not too late quite yet. This is a temporary hitch. I will take the chocolate somewhere it can be melted and come back. I'll need some way to keep it warm during the trip.
Well...
Perhaps a thermos would work. Would you be able to find a thermos and melt chocolate before the party starts? He chuckled, a hand over his mouth. That is highly unlikely. But all you need to do is enjoy other parts of the event first. Dance, drink, eat one of the lovely cupcakes. Then he flicked his wrist, gesturing away from his face. I'll return at some point during the evening, and the fountain will go up then. We can even act as if it was intentional to bring it out later.
Very well.
Ideally, the fountain can accompany the serving of the cake. No one has to know it was a problem factor. Run to I suppose picking up melted chocolate at a store, yeah. Stores don't usually sell pre-melted chocolate. Never mind. Baxter sounds like an ass. Nah, Baxter's great. Baxter's good. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy and he's helpful. But you'd miss so much of the party. He flashed a bold smile. I wasn't invited to this party. My intention was to leave when it started, regardless. What? It was as if the floor had dropped out from under you. Baxter had worked as hard as anyone else to make this party happen. He pulled an all-nighter for it. The fact that he wasn't one of the guests was almost unbelievable. You glanced at Terry. She was frowning.
Sorry.
The whole thing was a surprise. I never told Randy he was helping throw her a party. She has no idea Baxter is here, and she's shy if she doesn't know somebody well. Hi, JJ. Baxter is the dog's name. Oof. Baxter wants Cove. He does. He wants both of us. Is his middle name Fido? Actually, his middle name is Andrew. I think Andrew. I think his middle name is Andrew. I know it starts with an A. His middle name does start with an A. Because his initials are BAW. And his favorite colors are black and white. None of that was news to him. He was as unruffled as ever. Exactly. This is her birthday. It isn't her responsibility to host an actual stranger because he elected to involve himself in the planning side of things. No, Baxter is not Cove's dad. Baxter is being reasonable and mature, but that only made Terry feel worse. Her frown had deepened into a grimace. She'd piled job after job on his shoulders because he was just another part of the group in her mind. Now she'd realized too late that he wasn't, and never had been. Miranda would want you here if she heard what you did.
No, thank you. No. No, thank you.
I do appreciate the thought. However, I must decline. I've had a great deal of fun. There's no need to include me further. In fact, I would prefer to leave the party. I want the event we've worked hard on to be as good as it can be. Are you Cove's dad? You might be. I won't be thwarted by a chocolate fountain, and I won't make the atmosphere awkward by being present after. All I ask is that you enjoy the time we have together, and enjoy the time when I'm not there. This still didn't sit right with you. Not at all. But what could you do? You couldn't decide for Miranda, or for him, whether Baxter attended or not. Terry accepted it in the end, too. Okay, I get it. Thanks. I thought for weeks Baxter was Cove's dad. The Baxter voice makes my fight or flight kick in. Bye, Baxter.
Take care.
Man, that sucks. With that, he sauntered out of the room, a bag of unmelted chocolate in his hand and a smile on his face. In time with the shutting of the door, Terry smacked her palm against the table definitively. This is going to be the best party I've ever done no matter what, because it's going to be the only party I'll ever throw. Never again. Next time, somebody else is going to have to be in charge. I'll just help. Baxter kind of is already in charge. Nah, if he was, the chocolate fountain would be going already. You laughed even more. She laughed too. Come on, Jamie. He's not gonna let us down, and we can't stop either. Let's finish this! Yeah! You spun around only to come face to face with a fluffy Cove. He'd buried himself further in the feather boas, and began fiddling with a balloon he must have inflated. Right. Cove was left to wait alone the entire time. He stared awkwardly, as did Terry.
What's wrong?
Is everything alright? We can only hope, Cove. We can only hope. Okay? Cove left it at that, not any more informed or assured. And so, the party decorating continued with one less person. More balloons were blown up and placed about. Streamers were strung up, and you even moved a bench from a corner to the center stage. It would make as a makeshift throne for the Queen of the Day. Finally, all of the trash bags were carted out of the event space and tossed into a dumpster outside. The three of you returned and stood in the center of the now cleared dance floor to admire your handiwork. Wall to wall, floor to ceiling, the room gleamed.
Neat.
It looks good. It does. It actually does. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad at all. It's looking pretty good, pretty good. Terry was beaming wider than you'd ever seen. After a day and a half of almost non-stop preparations, you'd pulled off something pretty great. It was certainly a homemade arrangement by a group of friends at the last minute, but that was half of the charm. Your efforts were easy to see. You sat in a row along the edge of the stage, resting, waiting before the big event. No one talked. Cove tapped his foot. Until finally, Terry's phone went off. She read the message fervently. She murmured in haste. It's from Jude. The guests are arriving. I repeat, the guests are arriving.
All right.
Miranda, her siblings, her parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, and other people, they're going to be in this room any minute. Be ready. Terry shot from the back of the room to the front in a matter of seconds. She hit the music on. They did a good job here. She then strung a few bags along her arms. Those ones hadn't been used for trash. Cove put the accessories in them for safekeeping, after he was done wearing all the boas himself, of course. With that hanging over her, Terry stood in wait at the entrance. You and Cove joined her. Noises could be heard on the other side. Getting drunk? Hell yeah! Cove's hands clenched. Terry clasped onto his shirt like she was about to meet her maker. Then the door slowly began to open. On the other side, a small crowd was huddled together. At the head of it was Miranda herself. Oh my gosh! The dazzling pink party room was reflected in Miranda's big, sparkling eyes. Terry threw her bag-laden arms into the air. None of them fell off, fortunately. Surprise! 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 As spoken, Miranda was overcome with surprise. Terry and Jamie and Cove?
Yeah.
That's right. What do you think of your party this year? Terry queried her friend eagerly, though the quickness of the question was partially motivated by discreet anxiety. Miranda blinked, and she knew. Her family weren't the ones who put on this event. She answered with wholehearted appreciation. I love it! It's amazing! Way nicer than I ever would have thought. And we surprised you? You really didn't know what we were up to. You're not just being nice.
You're really nice.
You definitely got me. I didn't think this much would happen. Especially since it's not my 18th birthday or 21st or anything like that. It's only 19. 19 is legal to drink in Ontario in most of Canada. 18 in Quebec. But, 19 is legal to drink in Canada. So it's still a big deal, Miranda. You can now drink in Canada. What? All your birthdays are a big deal. Randy giggled at Terry's assertion. While her eyes were closed, you and Terry shared a look. This party was more important than Miranda realized. Thanks a ton. This is exactly what I wanted, and I didn't even know it. Cove let out a relieved breath. Terry pumped a fist victoriously, and the bag she was holding flung around. Miranda's secret birthday bash was a hit. More and more guests gathered and wandered about. They openly admired the room. Terry nodded, pleased.
Woo!
It's party time! Let's use the stuff we got! She dumped the contents of each sack on an empty end table for everyone to access. A bunch of sunglasses clattered out with the boas. On top of the pile was the white one. Terry stashed that back in a bag and threw it under a tablecloth. You mentally gave her your thanks for the save. Even if Baxter wasn't planning to use it, it was still for him. Miranda gave a clap. It was one delight after another today. Ooh la la! Looking fancy there, Terry! Terry sported sunglasses and a purple feather boa. Cove just went for a pair of sunglasses. He'd had enough of wearing those boas already. Or maybe it wasn't any fun when he was only allowed to take one. He managed to fit them over his regular glasses. Miranda got her own oversized shades, but instead of a boa, she was granted the special birthday girl's sash to set her apart from all the other attendees. I like the glasses. Indeed. They are ugly and tacky. You donned a boa and sunglasses. This made you feel like the glamorous diva from that interactive play. If only the person who was with you then could be here now. Cove looks lame. I mean, he's a loser. He's a dork. Nice, nice. All decked out for the party, Terry directed Miranda's attention to what else was on the tables. She was charmed anew when she saw the waiting rows of fake champagne, and outright stunned when her eyes landed on the display of glittery cupcakes.
So great.
That's so pretty! Did you buy those?
Nope.
They're homemade. Really? They look like they're from a pro bakery. Thank you. Can I have one now? Or are we waiting until it's time for cake? Miranda, it's your birthday. You can decide. She beamed. It was time for the queen to make her decree.
Fun.
Then I declare that we can all eat cupcakes right now. Fake champagne. They're minors. What a gracious hostess.
Sounds good.
Works for me. In unison, the three of them reached out for a treat. Tempting. You took a cupcake and bit into it right away. The fluffy cake and creamy frosting were delicious, and all the sweeter knowing how much work had gone into it. Terry licked the shiny frosting first. That was most intriguing to her. Miranda broke the bottom of the cake off and stuck it into the frosting to make a cupcake sandwich before she took a bite. She'd seen it in a video one time and done it since. Cove crammed half the dessert into his mouth at once. They each had their own unique way of enjoying their confection, but enjoy it they did. It was too bad Baxter wasn't there to see the results of your shared labor. You'd have to at least let him know all the trouble wasn't in vain. While the snacking occurred, you caught sight of Jude in the crowd of guests. Who's Jude? He tied a blue boa around his forehead. The feathers hung down and partially covered his eyes. But his bangs were so long his view was always partially obstructed, so it didn't make that much difference. Miranda's mom, dad, and her two older sisters were going around the room taking pictures and videos. Whenever the cameras ended up pointed in their general direction, Terry and Miranda posed like superstars. Seeing the entire Eckert family enjoy themselves really made the effort worth the while. Hey, Lady MK. Welcome back with your weed. The cupcakes were finished and crumbs were wiped away. Then hand in hand, Terry and Miranda hit the dance floor. Cove's hand, meanwhile, hovered over the platter of cupcakes. He considered taking another, but closed his fingers into a fist. He'd resisted the temptation. He jerked his head in the direction of your friends, encouraging you to come with. Cove left the snack table to toe the edge of the lit-up floor. He didn't go an inch past that border. Clapping and calling out to Miranda and Terry was as much partying as he was capable of. You joined in with Miranda and Terry. The two threw their hands in the air when you rushed over. Miranda screeched and Terry chanted your name when you moved with the music. More and more guests crowded onto the bright lights at the center, like moths to a flame. Baxter's beef. No beef, it's just they don't know each other and Miranda's uncomfortable with people she doesn't know. Terry whipped and twirled her boa, and Miranda's sunglasses kept almost flying off her face with the quick-footed move she was pulling. No beef, it's just... He doesn't want to spoil her special day. After a couple songs, Terry dragged Miranda to the front so she could sit in the throne you'd prepared for her. Time for a cheer! Being the center of attention normally embarrassed Randy, but today she could ignore those inclinations. Wait there, Randy. Cove, help me get the drinks around. She searched for you over the sea of people and winked when your eyes met. You've got to make up for not helping at all yesterday. Fine. They got to it, pouring and then passing drinks around the room. Cove offered one from the first batch to you. A grim-faced lady saw what was going on and silently helped give out the glasses of fake champagne. She knew the drill without being told. Well, that's just grim-faced and just like, fine. Better get this done. You recognized the woman from prior Miranda bashes. It was nice seeing her again, even though you'd barely said 2 words to each other in all these years of attending the same birthdays. Thanks to the efforts of those 3, most people had a cup ready to go. At the front stage, Terry passed the guest of honor a glass too. It was time. To the B-Day girl! Happy birthday, Miranda! Dozens of sparkling drinks glimmered under the shining lights as they were raised in a toast. People drank and clinked glasses with whoever they were rubbing elbows with. You tapped Cove's cup. He smacked your glass with his in tandem, overcome by the excitement permeating the room. It spilled a little. Oops. Good thing those cups weren't actually glass. You took a sip. It was intensely sugary, and bubbles pleasantly tickled your throat. It was as if the entire essence of the party, the thrills and the sweetness, had been distilled into a drink. With a half-full plastic champagne glass, Miranda leapt from her seat, off the stage, and landed in the crowd on the dance floor. That got a second round of cheering. Terry followed right after, and the celebrating resumed in full force. You were part of the crowd jumping to the beat. Cove still didn't quite dance himself, but he did bop his head to the music and tap a foot. The white guy dance! Like the cupcakes, you all relished the moment in your own ways. That afternoon was the party to end all parties, for better or worse. The music inside her flowed without stopping, until... Yo, Randy! Miranda's big brother slipped through the few cracks in the wall of dancers until he reached the heart of the floor. Food's here! It's cake time!
Woo!
I decided Miranda's brother is a surfer. Surf bro. Yay! Miranda gave a final gleeful twirl on her tiptoes. The birthday sash fluttered. Terry waved Cove over.
Oh yeah!
Let's eat! The gang reunited back at the refreshment tables. And there, along with Miranda's parents setting out the sandwich platters for lunch, was another figure. A distinctly monochrome figure. He acted at ease behind the table, busy doing a final check over a chocolate fountain. It was flipped on, and slowly, liquefied chocolate began to trickle out. Baxter did it! Who is that? Miranda's steps paused. She'd come face to face with a stranger in a gathering of the people she knew best. That's Baxter, the guy on our street who Terry ran off to go see that one time.
Oh.
Why is he here? Why is he setting up a chocolate fountain? Terry's hands went to her hips, and she came out with the whole story. B-Man was a crucial member of the secret party planning group who made this whole thing happen.
Really?
Miranda looked back and forth between Baxter and Terry, at a loss.
Uh-huh.
Baxter is nice, and I think he can't stand to see an event fail spectacularly or something. But for whatever reason, he wanted to help out. He took us to the store to get the supplies, made cupcakes, put up decorations, and did just about everything for that chocolate fountain. It almost had to be nixed like 3 times. Baxter kept his professionally polite demeanor the entire conversation, despite the fact that he had to have heard what they were talking about. Go get the boa for him! Go get the boa for him! Start the drama? I think this is going to go anti-drama. Feigning innocence, he came around to the other side of the table to properly greet the guest of honor.
Hello.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you. She barely knew what to say after finding out exactly how much he contributed. But her gaze dropped, and she tugged at the sash self-consciously. A minute before, she was the life of the party, embracing the cheesy glitz with gusto. But in front of him, she felt childish. It was everything he expected, and wanted to avoid, coming to pass. Baxter gave a considerate smile. You should be able to manage the fountain now that it's running. I hope the rest of the party will be a lovely time. You're leaving already? Her question was barely a peep. She had to muster all her confidence to say that much.
Yes.
My job is done. I was here only for that. You forced yourself to keep an even face in front of Randy. You knew it was coming. But you still didn't like it. But, well... She released her hold on the accessory and looked into Baxter's face directly. It was really thoughtful of you to do all this. You should stay and enjoy the party too. You knew she'd feel that way. Randy would never want to take anyone for granted. You are a gracious host. His words held sincere appreciation at the welcome extended, enough to get your hopes up.
But
I can't do that. The rejection was equally amiable. That didn't make it less disappointing. You don't owe me anything. Certainly not a place among your real friends at your birthday party. There's no reason to feel guilty. Now, if you'll excuse me. Take care. With a kindly wave that left no room for further argument, Baxter breezed past your group. That was it. He was gone. Terry's shoulders hung low. She'd been able to have fun when Randy arrived, but the fresh reminder of what happened made all the regrets resurface. Cove could only silently rub the scar on his left arm. And worst of all, Randy's cheer hadn't returned after Baxter's vanishing act was completed. He'd earnestly wished for her to be happy, but it was understandably hard to get into the celebratory spirit after that kind of revelation. Oh, I know, Miss Honeybunny. It shouldn't have to end like that. It didn't have to end like that. You wouldn't let it end like that. If Baxter wasn't going to be at Miranda's birthday, there had to be something else he could be a part of. You mentally grappled with the problem and cast your eyes about, trying to grasp any hint of an idea. Then, something Terry said earlier came back to you. Terry! All 3 of the others glanced your way. It was the first crack in the awkward silence, and that was enough for Cove and Miranda to also take an interest. Yeah? Could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I owe you my life for making sure this wasn't a disaster. I'll help you out with whatever you want.
Me too.
I'll help too if there's something I can do. Thanks. Miranda's birthday will be going for just a couple more hours. It'll be done way before the place closes, and Terry said we've got the room for the entire day. So tonight, after all the other guests are gone, let's use this venue for an after party. No, a totally different party. Another party? He tilted his head incredulously. Yeah, another party. Not a birthday, it could be our very own. It could be our very own... Party Planner Appreciation Party. And it can be just for our group. Me, Randy, Terry, Cove, and Baxter. We could try to set aside some of the food and drinks for later, clean up the mess when everyone is left, and we'll have slow music at this event. No drinks flying? I mean, I guess I did tell him that I would dance with them. But But nah. Terry, you could pay him back for everything he did by being his partner for that. Yeah! The first to affirm the idea was the one originally most trepidatious about Baxter being there. But she answered with confidence.
Let's do it.
I'll be a member of the secret planning party committee for this surprise. If he can do it for me, I can do it for him. And maybe Terry was right. We could all use more friends. Cove did not look convinced of all that, though he couldn't disagree with the main suggestion. Okay. A wide grin pulled at Terry's face, seeing this new plan forming. Hey, Yashiki. We should catch him before he's gone. He might not get the message if he escapes now. Good idea. Thanks, everyone. You rushed through the guests coming in on all sides, clamoring for their lunch. Bursting out of the party room was like waking from a dream. The pink extravaganza was replaced by a plain white hallway, and the only sounds were your own footsteps echoing off the linoleum floors. Opening up Steam and ready to see how fucked my wallet will be tonight. That reminds me! I totally forgot about it. So last night, I went on Steam last night. I opened up Steam last night. You remember that Marvel Avengers game? Came out like 2020, it just came out a couple years ago. With Kamala Khan as the main character. It's on sale for like $8. $8 or $9. For a AAA game! Less than 3 years old. 3 years is not that old. $8 for a AAA game. That is hilarious to me. I still didn't buy it, for the record. It's like 85% off. That is... Please just give us some money! Price. Like, that is a begging somebody to please play this price. That game did not get good reviews, and I don't think it had particularly great sales. So, $8. Amazing. Like I said, I still didn't buy it because I still don't fuck with Marvel anymore these days. I'm still, Disney creeps me out. Marvel's owned by Disney, so I still avoid Marvel. But yeah, I just found that just hilarious. They are just begging for whatever spare change people have in their pockets. Buy Marvel. Like, that price, that is them just begging for whatever spare change people have in their pockets. I feel like the Guardians of the Galaxy game wasn't too much different either, so... Oh, no, actually, the Guardians of the Galaxy game is still $24. 70% off, it's still $25. So yeah, it actually is just... Curious if it's still that price. Yeah, $7.94, still on sale for $7.94. And it's the definitive edition, too, so it's like, it's the version that comes with, like, all the extra DLC and stuff. Oh, man. Anyways. You'd been able to forget the normal world for a while, but had been there the entire time, going on as usual on the other side of the door. But Baxter wasn't there either. You kept going, through the lobby and into the parking lot. His hair might have fit in with the black tarmac and white painted lines, but the camouflage couldn't fool you. He was at the end of the row, moments away from getting into his car. Baxter! He turned around at the sound of your voice. Pushing yourself further, you shot down the wide open space.
I swear.
Jamie? Did something happen? Wait, please tell me it's not the chocolate fountain again. This dude is going to now have a lifelong grudge against chocolate fountains. I hope it doesn't extend to all fountains. Like, I hope he doesn't just, like, look at fountains and be like, I see you, fucker. I see you, son of a bitch, you... Your gait had slowed immensely in the final feat, and you came to a stumbling stop in front of Baxter. Hey, trailer. He waited patiently for an answer. Nothing is wrong. Well, that's a relief. You could have fooled me, however. You shouldn't be running out of the building if there are no issues. Go enjoy the damn fountain. Baxter's grin was teasing, harmless, though you didn't miss the layer of genuine frustration at the stupid machine after all the trouble it had caused. Fountain PTSD? He absolutely. Absolutely. He's gonna have flashbacks to this day. He smoothed his face and shirt out in fluid motions. I'll be fine. I'm going back. I just have to ask you something first.
I see.
I'm all ears. Okay, so I know you've already done a lot for this party and us, but if you're not too exhausted, could you come here again tonight? Around 7 p.m.? Baxter's almost unshakable smile was lost to suspicion. Not good. This was a surprise you were planning. You threw out the first cover that popped into your head, before he could speak the obvious question on the tip of his tongue. The thing is, I don't want to ride home with Terry. Oh. It worked. His expression softened. It worked. Baxter was convinced you needed him. All doubts were settled.
Certainly.
I'll be here at 7 on the dot. Thanks. I'll see you soon.
It's settled.
Yes, you will. Baxter parted from you yet again, but as you saw him off, you felt good about it. This time him leaving didn't mean he was simply gone. It meant you'd have time to prepare for his return. 7 p.m. is when the 18-plus party starts. I mean, we are all 17. Or we are all 18.
It's settled.
I mean, I assume it's just like a birthmark. Like, I assume that this is just a birthmark. Beauty mark, as it's called. You remember Celine Dion? Or, not Celine. Who was that supermodel? Shit. Cindy. Cindy Lauper? No. Cindy... Shit, who was that supermodel? Cindy... But yeah, she had like a little beauty mark above her lip. You're 87? Who was the supermodel? Crawford! Thank you, Jordan! By the way, hello, Jordan. And thank you, Honey Bunny. Thank you, Jordan. That was going to absolutely... Like, I was going to be annoyed the entire rest of the night until I got that. Until I got the name. That literally would have just been bothering me until I would have a chance to look it up. Jordan coming in with a big save right with the entrance. Big damn hero's entrance there. You found your way to the party room just in time to sing happy birthday. Sliding alongside the rest of the group, you acted as if you'd never left. Cove chuckled and quietly welcomed you back. Terry's confetti cake was placed in front of Randy at the head of the table. The 19 candle you picked up from the store yesterday was lit by her dad. Jordan's really good at that, indeed. When she blew it out, the room filled with cheers. Her friends and family ate sandwiches, salad, and cake. The chocolate fountain was a huge hit, too. Thank goodness. Miranda, Cove, Terry, and yourself each squirreled away a plate of extra desserts and snacks for the secret party. Soon guests got a second wind and more dancing commenced. And this time, even Cove stepped onto the lit-up floor. Every single one of you can enjoy yourself to the fullest now. And you did, for the final couple hours of the party. When it got closer to dinner time, the guests began to trickle out little by little. Many of them came by to hug Miranda and wish her the best once more. I like people and listening to them. Yep. That was how Miranda's 19th birthday concluded, and how the preparation for the Party Planner Appreciation Party began. You informed the team on when Baxter would be arriving, and how they couldn't dally. The four of you, plus Miranda's parents and siblings, cleaned up trash and took down the decorations that indicated a birthday was going on. One of the tables and the sound system was left in place for the Party Planner Appreciation Party. You also recovered the white boa from under the table where Terry hid it earlier. It was still in pristine condition. Perfect. At 6:50, Miranda kindly used the last of her birthday girl power to ask her family to get out of there, so her friends could have their own party. The Eckert clan accepted being kicked to the curb, and graciously made themselves scarce. Jude held up a peace sign as he shut the door behind himself. Surfer, bro! And was I not right in giving him a surfer bro voice? Was I wrong? Is Cove sexually active yet? Probably. He's awkward enough that probably we haven't had sex. Yeah, Jude held up a peace sign as he shut the door behind himself and the rest of the folks taking their leave. At 6:55, you double-checked the dance floor for any debris. It was spotless. I have been dead since I turned 21. I hear that. At 6:58, you wandered about the room, trying to pick out the best place to stand and wait. Terry teasingly wondered aloud if that's what she looked like before Randy arrived. It was. At exactly 7, the door cracked open. Excuse me, may I come in? Unsure of what he was walking into, Baxter paused at the precipice. Yeah, we've been waiting. That was all the encouragement needed. Baxter came into the party room. He smiled graciously at the cluster of people silently standing ahead of him. Cove leaned over stiffly like a balloon slowly deflating. He whispered awkwardly into your ear.
So...
What are we supposed to say now? Are we shooting surprise for this? Let's not do that. Okay. Ahem. So, welcome back. Thanks for being here, Baxter.
Welcome.
How good of you to come, Baxter. With the way Terry rubbed her hands together and the vague sense of satisfaction in her tone, she was giving the impression he'd fallen into a nefarious trap. Now all the guests have finally arrived, we can finally begin.
What?
What do you mean? I should think the guests have left by this point. Baxter had a generously low level of confusion at the strangeness, merely raising his brow rather than making a hasty retreat. I've been confused since we started this game. Oh yeah, Cove wearing double glasses, yeah. Wearing glasses over his glasses. Even though Baxter would probably be the last person you knew who'd be scared off by villainous shenanigans, you decided to avoid any potential misunderstandings. We've been waiting to start the Party Planner Appreciation Party. A Party Planner Appreciation Party, you say? You've got it. This event is Miranda's birthday no more. She dramatically crossed her arm over the other and flung them outwards, as if swearing off the entire concept of a birthday. Derry had to rent this room for the entire day, even though we only needed it until the middle of the afternoon. So, we decided to use the last few hours we had here to have another party. One that's for the group of us, so you're invited. You parted from the bunch to position yourself right in front of the stunned Baxter. He didn't flinch as you draped the white feather boa over his shoulders. Baxter's mouth opened wordlessly as he stared directly at your face. He tentatively lifted up a hand, brushing his fingers against the feathers surrounding him. He had to check that it was truly there. Then, with his eyes still wide, a delighted grin grew across Baxter's face.
To be honest,
I must admit, I didn't suspect it at all. I never should have doubted your abilities to throw a surprise party. Terry, Randy, and Cove crowded around the two of you to reform the group with the newest member. Hey, Josie. Didn't I tell you the best way to have something be a real surprise is if you do it all at the last second so no one even has a chance to put it together?
you're very good.
Yes, you did. I suppose there are some advantages to the strategy after all. And so, the Party Planner Appreciation Party commenced. You hung around the room at the almost barren snack table. It was the only piece of furniture left behind from Randy's party. There weren't even chairs, mostly. Miranda had joked that Baxter could take the throne now if he wanted to. That part came with the room. He courteously declined. Hey, Colorado. Stroking the old cove. Why does Baxter sound so creepy? Because he's sexy. Dinner was simple, more sandwiches and salad. It was also a mostly quiet meal, but that's exactly what was needed. At 7 a.m. that morning, you'd left to prepare for Miranda's birthday. 12 hours later, you were still there. Lazily enjoying one another's company after an extremely long day couldn't be overappreciated. Cove wiped crumbs from his mouth after he was done eating and addressed Baxter without being spoken to for a change. There's dessert for you two. A slice of the cake and one of the cupcakes. Thank you. I'd like to try the cake Terry made, but I've had quite enough of the cupcakes. Fair enough. He was well acquainted with the confections, even if he'd never taken a single bite. Then can I have it?
Absolutely.
Please do. And that's it. Baxter and Cove are friends now. Don't forget the chocolate fountain. Terry jumped in with another sampling suggestion. That contraption was Baxter's second, arguably more formidable, enemy of the event. It's still going strong. You've got to try it. However, he chuckled. All right, if you insist. Gotta get over that fear of the chocolate fountains. Gotta get over the trauma. You know, get back on the horse, Baxter. Back on the horse. Were they not friends? Cove's deeply uncomfortable around Baxter. For all the trouble it caused, the fountain had indeed kept flowing, even as the night went on and dozens of treats passed through it. That was the only part of the equation that was in good shape, however. The platter of goodies alongside it had become a plate of baddies. What remained was some snapped pretzel fractions, scraps of fruit, and mostly the full-size granola bars. Cookies and marshmallows had, to the shock of no one, been more popular choices. Those were gone long before the first party had even finished. Someone should push Baxter into the fountain. Back on the horrors, you say? Not one to complain, Baxter plucked up a granola bar and slipped one end into the rippling sheet of liquid chocolate that he'd melted himself. Cove, meanwhile, wasn't going to settle for that, despite being the one who brought them. He tore off a piece of the second cupcake of the night and stuck that into the fountain. His fingers got coated as well. Baxter languidly watched Cove make a careless mess. You know, food that crumbly will get into the chocolate and... never mind. Smirking, Baxter removed his bar from the fountain and flipped around. He leaned his backside against the edge of the table.
Honestly,
What does it matter if the chocolate clumps? I wouldn't care if the fountain broke at this point. The point was punctuated with a satisfied bite into the chocolate-covered granola bar. It's good. No matter how definitively he made the statement, it was hard to tell if he was being serious or not. Baxter versus Cove. I think this is how Cove becomes sexually active. You went for one of the granola bars too. If cookies were the life of the chocolate pool parties, granola bars were the wallflowers hiding in a corner and wondering why they even came. Well, shit, now you've got me relating to granola bars of all fucking things? Now I relate to granola bars. Sure, it wasn't ideal, but it was fun. When the slim pickings became non-existent pickings, even the most daring among you had to call it quits on the fountain. Terry used the final chance to fulfill her most base urge, sticking her tongue directly into the stream of chocolate. Miranda giggled and squirmed at how wrong it was. Terry gave a thumbs up. Putting your body parts into that contraption was recommended, apparently.
All right.
Terry cleaned herself off before making a new announcement. This isn't a birthday celebration. So you know what that means? It's not weird to have slow dancing as our main event. I like the chewy granola bars. Pardon me? Dancing? This party of 5 is going to have slow dancing? Baxter questioned what he was hearing. Not in a fun, this is too good to be true way, but in a tone that was almost accusatory, like you'd gotten him in a trap after all. I am beginning to get the impression that this impromptu event is less for the entire group and more for me specifically. Once again, the group became divided between the 4 of you together and the one outsider, and as always, it was self-imposed. Baxter's arms folded as his gaze wandered over each of the faces around him. He was searching for a reason. He wanted to know Baxter's motivation for his own behavior. Well, it is called the Party Planner Appreciation Party. I wasn't the one who made the party. He countered immediately, defensively. You and Terry had bigger roles than I did. The chilly reception didn't hamper Terry whatsoever. Perhaps she took him for being shy in the spotlight. She wandered away and hit the music, setting it to a lovely tune with a gentle pace. A nice snuff song that could smooth out any of the bumps. I'm the granola bar. I know, honey bunny! Baxter remained defiant, waiting motionlessly for a response to what he said. He couldn't and wouldn't accept the situation. I feel like the best thing to say here is, shut up and dance with the cute girl. You know, just shut up and dance with the cute girl. Under that kind of pressure, Miranda glanced at the floor, and Cove sheepishly turned from Baxter to look at you for guidance. I see. That was enough of a hint for all to be clear. You were the planner for this party. Of course, that's how it happened, was what you read in his expression. Baxter no longer traded stares among the crowd. He didn't see anyone else in the room except for you. You deserve some thanks. He took in a breath through his nose and curled his ringed fingers into a fist.
Sorry.
Sorry to interrupt your moment, but I must ask you for this dance. Terry stuck her hand into his face, making herself entirely unignorable. Subtlety wasn't going to work in this case. Baxter gave a delicate smile.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. See, that's probably why it was the good choice to have Terry dance with him. She does not do... she's just oh no, this is happening. She's not going to let any sort of social awkwardness get in the way. She's like, no, this is happening. We're dancing. You don't have a choice here. I'm asking you to dance. You're going to say yes. We're gonna have a nice, lovely dance and you're gonna have a great time. You don't get to choose whether you have a good time here. That is the benefit of people like Terry. People who are like just extremely outgoing. They will force you to enjoy yourself and have a good time and to be happy. This is what we are doing, exactly. He accepted the offer and the two walked into the lit up floor together. Baxter led Terry into some easy steps. No one else even considered joining, so the space belonged to Terry and Baxter. It was nice, watching them tepidly move to the music. He was able to forget his concerns for the moment. Whenever they completed a turn, Baxter would briefly make eye contact with you from across the room. You flash an encouraging grin. More and more, Baxter swept around the room like the pro he was, relishing the opportunity to strut his stuff. Terry did a great job of keeping up, though she mainly avoided tripping rather than matching Baxter's footwork. Eventually, they called a break. Baxter headed straight to you, so Terry made a beeline towards Miranda and Cove. She offered to dance with either Randy or Cove. Both of them refused, with varying degrees of nervousness. Terry could only laugh. She knew it was coming. Out of the normal group, you might have been bold enough to do that with her, but you already had a partner. For the most part, it was just him and you. Hello, Jamie. Hi.
Well,
So, he murmured pleasantries a hair's breadth away from your face. Was the birthday party a success? Everyone had a great time, especially Miranda. Baxter's lips quirked. It must have been a relief to know for certain that nothing fell apart once he made his retreat. Thank you for everything. My pleasure. His eyes closed and placed 1 foot back, only for a second. He thought better of that and brought it back in line with his other leg. I am not lying when I say this is one of the grandest occasions I have attended. Confessed by a man wearing a $2 feather boa and standing in the final remnants of a birthday party thrown together in 2 days. That scene had to be a far cry from the formal events you were certain he'd attended throughout his life before coming to Sunset Bird. Yet you didn't doubt the earnestness of his words for a second.
you're...
I apologize if I did not give that impression initially. I hate to be a bother, and you went to so much trouble. It doesn't matter now. The effort is sincerely appreciated. In a way, Terry had been right. Even Baxter Ward could be bashful in certain ways. That was okay. You were just glad he enjoyed himself in the end.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to your party, Jamie. Look at him blushing. Look at him blush there. His eyes were still dancing, even if his feet had stopped. But his words carried the weight of finality with them. There was a joy he found in the fleetingness of it all. Just like this might be your last big party with Terry, Miranda, and Cove, it could very well be the first and final time for Baxter, too. He'd accepted that as a certainty. Baxter was always so ready to leave, with parties and town on the whole. He treated everything that came his way as temporary, to merely be embraced while he could, and then to freely release. Even though you knew that, even if he'd never done anything differently, you hoped he would keep having a reason to return, as long as you reached out to him. Whee! Whew. One more moment. We'll save that for another time. One more moment, and then we get into the end game. So we are very, very close to being done with our life. Finally! How long is this one? 25 episodes so far in the end game. Hey, Nancy! Yeah, 25 episodes of it so far. When was the first one? First one was from way back in 11 months ago. So almost been at this for almost a year. July 2nd. So yeah, it's been a year. It's been a year that I've been playing this. July 2nd. 2022 was the when I did the very first was when I started this game. And now we'll be done with it very soon. Whew. Well, I know color purple. I would guess 2, maybe 3 more episodes of this. Because I imagine Happiness will probably be long enough for 1 episode. Summer Ended, that may take up a full episode, or it may not. Longest trek to puberty in history. Memories. I mean, a year is not that long to get to puberty. Gotta confess, I will be pretty happy to see it done. And then I can move on to the next visual novel that I'll be playing. Whee! In live stream hours, yes, sir, it is. Fair enough. No, I do enjoy the game. Like, I enjoy the game, it's just, it is long. Playing Don't Take It Personally until it's... Yeah, I'll do, next week I'll do another episode of Don't Take It Personally. I like Don't Take It Personally. I like that one too, that's a good one. So yeah, I'll do that one next week. And then I'll probably just take a couple, 2 or 3 weeks to finish up this fucker. Ugh. So you know what's missing from Don't Take It Personally? You know the one thing that's missing from Don't Take It Personally? Chocolate Fountain. I like the trauma. I want full trauma in every character plotline. Yeah, that game does like its trauma. That game is all about trauma, so... Yes, I am done. Done for the night. More Star Trek tomorrow. Another Star Trek episode tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll have up another video of my Star Trek Resurgence Let's Play. And yeah, like I said, I've been recorded 4 episodes already of Life is Strange Let's Play, which looking forward to that. Side note, I found out yesterday there's a game on my wish list by the same developer who did what was it? Yeah, it added a game to my wish list. Harmony, The Fall of Reverie. And found out last night that it was by Don't Nod, the same developer who did Life is Strange. Can we stream Star Trek from the hot tub? No. Clocked out of work yesterday and haven't fully clocked back in. Be like my cockpit. They don't have cockpits in Star Trek. I suppose the shuttle has a cockpit. And there are two sections that take place in the shuttle. I think a Starship Command. Hey, Scapegoat. So yeah, after I go through the Life is Strange games, I might end up doing a Let's Play of... I might end up buying and doing a Let's Play of Harmony, The Fall of Reverie. Because that dang game does look really good. And, the Life is Strange games are great. So... yeah, I don't know. Maybe? Though keeps taking me away from TK. Problem is, I do want to please show the double glasses I'm begging. Can see if I can scroll back far enough.
Thank you.
It might be tough to scroll back far enough.
Huh?
Come on. Man, gotta scroll real far back for... There it is. Double glasses. Why is he wearing a boa? Because it's a party, Scapegoat. So yeah, there's Cove's double glasses. He wears glasses, so he put glasses over his glasses.
Honestly.
Hi. Well, thank you.
So there you go. Double glasses. I am J. Scrape got his chained to a radiator in my basement. Good for you. Good for you. You're welcome, Jenna. All right. And I'm gonna end it here. I will finally end the stream. So, good night, everybody.